Thank you.
So what's your whole argument
About?
abortion? I'm just curious.
It's murder and we need to abolish it.
So I can understand that argument.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with it.
Are you a Christian?
No.
Okay.
But what gets me sometimes is the whole medically necessary. I mean, I think abortion should be completely between a woman and her doctor. Right? It should be a choice.
Why do you think that?
Well, I'll get to that.
If you properly define it, it would be murder should be between a doctor and the mother.
Well, I want to try to find common ground first. Like what gets me sometimes, because I understand your side, but what gets me sometimes is the whole medically necessary thing, where sometimes people on your side will say that they don't feel it should be legal even when it's medically necessary to protect the life of the mother. So I was just wondering what your viewpoint is on that side of the issue.
That case is very rare. There's a pediatrician that said that in his 36 years of work, or obstetrician, 36 years of work, there's never a case that he had to destroy the life of a child in order to save the mother.
That was C. Everett Koop. He was a former Surgeon General of the United States.
Sorry?
That was C. Everett Koop, the former Surgeon General of America.
Yeah, I was actually just reading a case the other day about a woman who was 9 months pregnant, and she went into labor, and the baby started coming out sideways, and she was in labor for, I don't know, an abnormally long amount of time at this point. And they were trying to do everything they can to get the baby, to come out the right way. But she couldn't. They couldn't do it. And at that point, she'd been in labor for so long that if they tried to do a C-section and cut her open, she would have died. And literally, the only option at that point was, because technically the baby hadn't been delivered yet, they had to cut the baby apart, and which was very traumatic for everyone involved. But it was the only possible solution to save the mother's life. So in a state like Alabama or Georgia or whatever, with like heartbeat bills where it's completely illegal regardless of the situation, that would have killed the mother.
As a mother, as someone who's had 4 babies, 5 if you count my miscarriage, I'm gonna say I don't buy that. A 9-month-old baby.
Not 9 months pregnant.
Okay, but they would have known that baby was sideways way before she started pushing. So I don't buy that story, I'm sorry.
You don't have to believe it.
I'm just telling you, we are way too advanced in science and technology for them not to know that baby was sideways.
Maybe she
about
didn't.
5 months, or before the 9th month, I have seen women talk about when they're having a child, their child is sideways, and they're waiting for the child to go move in the proper position to come out.
Let's say, what if she didn't have health care to get those checkups throughout the course of her pregnancy? A lot of people don't have.
Well, how does she not have it? I mean, here in America, as advanced as we are.
And it's often forced.
You're really making that argument right now?
I mean, we're in America.
It's okay to kill a baby.
By the end of 2019, over 500,000 people will go bankrupt in this country because of medical debt that they cannot pay.
By their own choice.
By their own choice.
By their own choice.
You want to elaborate on that?
Well, I'm not saying everybody that you're talking about, but a lot of people, because of dumb decisions they've made, they're in debt by their own doing. And college does not help with that either. College puts a lot of people in terrible debt.
That's true. We also need to overhaul that.
So you're saying that financial reasons is a reason that we should leave abortion as an option? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. I think there's a lot of reasons.
I'd agree with that.
I think it can be a reason.
So if my husband loses his job and can't support me and our 4 kids, should I just kill my kids?
I mean,
so that I can live my
have your kids been born?
Yes.
Then no.
Well, what difference does that make? Whether they're born or preborn, what difference does that make? If we can take their lives or not?
That's not how we define life.
How do we define life?
Because the state statute defines life as when a baby is born conception, starts at conception.
That's Wisconsin. I just moved here. I don't know much about.
It's not just Wisconsin,
yet,
but
94004 or 940 is the statute.
Have you considered that, regardless of what you believe, showing up with these signs is not the most effective way to communicate with people?
What's more effective?
Came up to talk to us, so
I know, but I think I came up because I'm really already upset and disgusted with just
It
having to
affected
see
you.
these images, it affected me. It doesn't change my opinion on abortion. It changes my opinion of you, which is
Because
that I'm
your
less
heart is
likely to
against-
listen to you.
That's because your heart is hard against.
Well, you're here listening, so it's effective in some way. I mean, we don't.
Is it a religious thing for you guys?
Well, we do it because we're Christians. But I mean,
In what country do we live in?
America.
You're a Christian? Yeah. Do you think abortion's okay? Yeah. What kind of Christian are you? Catholic. Catholic? Honestly, you're the first Catholic I've ever met. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I grew up around all that. I'll tell you that much.
Are you a born again believer in Christ? Then you're not a Christian.
Okay. Went to Catholic school for 11 years. Came up through the church my whole life.
Works
My
doesn't
parents are
make you
Christian.
a Christian. Your
And
parents definitely don't make you a Christian. If I went by what my parents are, I'd be condemned straight to hell.
Why don't I have a right to say what my faith is?
No, you do, absolutely. I'm just telling you that as a Christian, as a born again believer in Jesus Christ, I have the duty and obligation to tell you, as someone professing to be a Christian, that you're not a born again Christian.
Okay, I'll accept that.
So, I mean, my big question right now is why do you think it's okay to try to make laws based around your religious beliefs when here in the United States of America we have a separation of church and state?
Well, we have a flawed concept of that. It's not saying that church and state must be separated in all cases, but what we're doing this because it's murder. We all know it's murder, but people suppress the truth and
I
unrighteousness.
disagree.
Well,
regardless of what the laws, no one's making you do it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You shouldn't
But-
stand by and tolerate evil just because people do it. Are we going to regulate rape just because people do it anyway? Are we going to regulate and make money off of it?
Start by regulating rape in the church.
No way. Yes, I know that there's a priest that accuses that, but anybody that molests a child is not a true Christian follower of Jesus Christ, which also brings me back to the argument with the Catholic Church. However, we don't regulate sin just because bad people do it. We don't regulate murder just because they claim that they're going to do it in back alleys. Well, people rape people in back alleys too, but that doesn't mean we're going to regulate it and make money off of it. You see this example also in the legalization of recreational marijuana. Just because people do it, they've decided, the government's decided, okay, we're going to make money off of it now. Same thing with abortion.
I don't think it's fair to compare marijuana and abortion.
Why? They defied God's laws, the laws of
Where in
our
the Bible
country.
does it say in the Bible you can't smoke marijuana?
It says not to do anything that alters your mind.
So,
Sober.
What about
but
coffee?
drinking,
Coffee allowed in wine.
drinking.
Doesn't mean that coffee is a sin. I don't, because it does not alter your mind. Coffee does not alter your mind.
Caffeine is a drug.
But it does not alter your mind to do things that you wouldn't do in a normal state of mind.
I don't know. I can be pretty productive
Okay, well,
after I
then-
drink my coffee.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can be pretty
I
productive
wouldn't do
after
my
sleep.
homework
well,
if
let's
I.
call coffee a sin.
Okay. It doesn't affect my life negatively.
What
If
I'm
anything,
saying
it's
is, if
positive.
you can prove to me that coffee is a sin, absolutely, I'll throw it down the drain right now.
And then, okay, so you said anything mind altering. It does say in the Bible that, I mean, drinking wine is allowed in certain situations.
For your stomach. For your stomach. It's good. Yeah, stomach ailments.
Is that your best argument?
Apostle
Would you actually
Paul.
like to have a conversation?
The Apostle Paul.
Do you have a better argument than the middle finger, sir? These people have a
It's
good.
class to go to.
These people didn't give us a middle finger. They got a good
I can't-
dialogue.
I can't hang out too
Stop
long.
by and
But
said something rather than flipping up his middle finger.
The middle finger is not a good argument, sir.
The Apostle
I don't think he
Better?
can hear you because
So your wine,
Yeah, I mean, we're talking to
That's
you,
a
no.
sign. That's a sign. They're both.
Well, but that's always
I
God.
decide actually
But at
to
least you're all respectful,
This one doesn't really state much. It just says abortions.
and it shows a child that was murdered.
What abortion is. But back to your wine question. When people take regulated amounts of medicinal drugs, it doesn't put them into a state. Usually, if the person isn't in like that much pain or whatever it is, that pain or whatever is taking them out of the normal state of mind.
Marijuana is a
That-
medicinal drug.
Yes, I know. And I didn't say that medicinal marijuana was wrong. I honestly don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I haven't looked into it enough. So, but what I'm saying is when people are in pain or whatever it is causing them not to be normal, that medicinal drug takes them kind of back to the normal. Therefore, they're not overusing it. They're not like, I guess, taking advantage of that to make themselves in a different state of mind. They're trying to get back to the normal state of mind. Does that make sense?
Right. I mean, for me personally, I mean, I like to have a few drinks on the weekend. You know, it calms me down. I'm not hurting anyone.
Are you a drunkard? Would you call yourself a drunkard?
No.
The Bible speaks against drunkenness.
What?
The Bible speaks against drunkenness. Obviously, our Savior drank wine. So to have a drink, I'm not telling you that is a sin or not. I think that would honestly fall on a personal preference. I do not drink because I know that I can't handle more than one. So therefore, I'm not going to put myself in that temptation.
Yeah, then that's fine.
So if the Bible speaks against drunkenness. So if you're drinking to get drunk, then yes, that would be sin.
But like for me, I don't view it that way. I don't
just
view
tell
it
you
as a
what the
sin
Bible
because I don't believe in the same ideology that you do.
Yeah, but you asked us our opinion on it.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm telling you my opinion. But
Okay.
Well, we're just going by what the Bible says. It's not our opinion. It's just what the scriptures say.
that's fair enough, and I will fight to the death your right to be able to follow that in this country. Like I 100% respect your right to have that opinion, but at no point do I actually have to respect the opinion itself.
No, you
Hence,
don't.
this one.
And I don't like the fact that you're standing here in my school with these signs that are just going to upset people. You're just trying to go.
Yeah. I mean,
You don't have to agree with that. Absolutely. I said you don't have to agree with that. Absolutely, you do not have to. But we're here to give you that choice to turn to Jesus Christ. That's what we're here for.
You what?
We're here to give you the choice to turn to Jesus Christ. That's what we're here for. Only God can change hearts, and we can pray for you that He will change your heart. But we can't change it. You're right. We can't do that.
Do you think that like, I mean, you're a Christian? I don't know about you, but like, okay, so I'm the only one who's not. But like, do you think I'm like a bad person for not
I think
believing in the same religion you do?
We're all bad people outside of Christ. All of us, before God saved us, we were wicked people. Because the Bible says that no one is good, no, not one. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God.
Yeah, I feel like humans naturally sort of have those, I guess you call them like animalistic tendencies to do bad things for their own survival. I think that Christianity was, and all those, the big three religions, were sort of the best way to sell to people that we need to be good to each other at that point in time in human history. And I think,
one of your big threes? I'm just kidding. Is Islam one of your big threes?
yes.
Where does that teach you to be good to people? It actually teaches you to kill people that doesn't believe in.
Yeah, I mean, there's differences, but I think, obviously, each one is a little different, but at the time, in that part of the world, 2,000 years ago, that worked for that group of people to keep everyone in line, right? So I think that's why nowadays, with us becoming such a globalized society, that now there's more fighting over it than...
Do you know what you just stated is Bible prophecy? Do you know what you just stated is Bible prophecy?
I just poked a hole.
No, I just said a globalized society, that's Bible prophecy. Jesus said...
Anyone could have predicted that with technology.
Not 2,000 years ago.
Do you believe in a 6,000-year-old Earth?
Yeah, approximately. There's no proof for anything beyond.
Well, yes, there is.
Not actual scientific proof. Science says you have to see something from
Fossil
the beginning to
records
the end.
and carbon dating.
They don't know. They don't actually have proof of how old those fossils are because they have nothing to compare it to.
A lot of evidence of ancient societies are well over 6,000 years old.
There's a lot of scientific evidence that provides for the Bible as well.
Oh well.
And
For this
but
bullshit.
people say that they believe in science, refuse to look at the science that proves the Bible. Why?
What would that be?
Well, there's archaeological findings that prove that all these events happened, that the Bible says even miraculous events like the falling of the walls of Jericho and how Rahab's house was the only one that was left standing.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
The walls that fell in Jericho and Rahab, the harlot's house,
We open a dialogue?
was standing. There's archaeological findings that prove that. There's archaeological findings of when the earth stood still, or when time stood still, and it's in Joshua. Okay. There's
Where he made the day longer
Yeah.
in the story?
they found proof of that. Like scientists have said that they've found proof of that based on the way things are spoken. I'm not really sure you have to look into that one. But there's proof of all these civilizations as well that the Bible mentions that they tried to say King David had that system, but now they've found scrolls that had this seal on it.
But there's also proof of civilizations before all this. But
none that
and
go
I'm not
back.
saying that none of the things described in the Bible didn't happen. But my point is there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that points to more.
Well, the biggest proof is the empty tomb.
Is what?
The empty tomb, which is even found in Roman documents. Jesus Christ claimed to be God. He claimed to have the power of God on earth. He claimed to be the Son of God. So therefore, when he resurrected from the dead and the tomb was empty, that was proof right there that he was who he said he was.
How do we know that happened?
Well, that's obviously we have the Bible that you probably don't believe in. So you have Roman history that states that the tomb was empty.
Is that it?
For that specific incident?
Yeah.
Well, you have the 500 people that testified. But once again, that's found in the scriptures.
Right. But that was thousands of years ago. I mean, it kind of acts like a big game of telephone.
How? The Bible has the oldest manuscripts of any other writing.
Right, but before that, it was all told by oral tradition. Right, and the more times you tell a story, the more details are going to get altered.
Absolutely, and that's why.
And I'm not here to argue about whether Christianity is true or not, because I don't know. I'm agnostic.
Okay.
Right? My point is that arguing this, you have the right to argue it, which is why we're having this conversation. But the law in itself, to do that on a religious basis, is un-American.
How? What law? Separation of church and state. That's not a law.
First Amendment.
That's not in the First Amendment.
Or not the First Amendment. Is it the 10th?
It's in a letter to the Dansbury Baptist Church from Thomas Jefferson.
I think it's
That's not in our Constitution.
I think it's the
There's a precedent
10th
for it.
Amendment or
It's
something,
been
but it says there shall be no law created.
That supports or goes against religion. I think that is the First Amendment. But that doesn't say.
10th Amendment is any rights not already stated or given or stated.
Oh, okay.
But this would not be a law based upon religion. It would be a law based upon common sense that we're murdering a human being inside the womb.
So basically the argument is, should it be defined as murder? And I think no.
Okay.
And I'm going to vote that way.
Okay. And that is your right. However, that doesn't change the truth.
That doesn't what?
It doesn't change the truth.
Well, I believe the truth to be different than you do. And I don't. You're not going to change my mind, and I don't think I'm going to change yours.
Your own definition of truth defies the definition.
What?
Your own definition of truth defies what truth actually is.
What is true?
We're showing you a picture of something. This human has eyes, has nose, has mouth, but yet you're refusing because your heart is hardened to the situation. You're refusing to accept the truth that this is a human being being slaughtered inside his mother's womb.
It's an embryo of a human being.
An embryo is just a baby in utero.
Stage of development.
My 2-year-old
Stage of
is not an
development.
adult
It's not a
yet.
fully formed person yet.
Neither is my 2-year-old.
Yeah, there is a baby at 20 weeks or a baby just outside the womb. They're not fully developed yet. They're gonna grow more and more, and they're gonna get older.
I think as a society, the way that we should define life is outside the womb.
Based on
Its own
what?
person. It's still part of the mother. At that point.
Based on what? Would you say life begins at birth? When
Yeah, I would say life begins at birth.
based on what?
What do you mean based on what?
Well, what authority or evidence do you have to support that life begins at the birth? Why not? Why not at 20 weeks? Why not at 10 weeks? Why not at the moment of fertilization?
Because it's not its own person yet. I mean, at conception, at fertilization, it can't survive on its own.
Neither can a 1-year-old child. You leave a 1-year-old child alone, they're gonna die.
It's not part of its mother's body at 1 year old.
So what does that matter? I mean, it's not, the child isn't the woman's body.
Breast, you don't get milk from her. Does that make the baby a part of her body?
What?
So whenever the baby has to go get milk from the mother's breast, does that make the baby a part of the woman's body? Because baby needs her
No.
the mother?
Still depending on her body to have it live.
Right, but it could be dependent at that point on an adoptive mother,
Yeah, but another
baby formula, right? It's not the same
But
thing.
it still has to be attached to some other human being for it to live.
Everyone needs human contact to I mean, even as an adult, to have a healthy functioning mind, you need human contact.
So do we define that that is or is not a human being based on the child is dependent on his or her mother? Like is dependent on his or her mother, that they're still connected by the umbilical cord?
I'd say that's part of it. And I think the other part would be the way that I feel society defines life.
Well, society once said that black people were not human beings fully, that they were property.
And that's horrible. And that's
so we can't go on society because society has been proven to be wrong at times. They said that black people were less valuable, were inferior to white people based on their skin color in the days of segregation.
Yeah.
Nazi Germany, they said that Jews were not people, parasites, and that it was legal to murder them. So we can't base it on culture because culture can be wrong, as history has proven.
Right.
I mean, in this culture, those who were living in homosexual sodomy used to be in the closet. Now they're out of the closet because it's been embraced by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And people.
I'm glad for that.
What's that?
I'm glad for that. I'm glad we're making that
So
progress.
so culture has changed.
But I don't feel this fits in the same category
Of what?
of racial equality.
Well, I mean, it is an inequality because we say the unborn are not human beings deserving the same protection as born people. So I mean, we've learned nothing from history, from past injustices, because we're repeating history right now by treating the preborn as not full human beings.
They're not full human beings by definition.
Well, because we say that, but we know that they're human beings because it makes sense that it's a human being from the moment of fertilization. But people think, well, it becomes a human being at 20 weeks or birth, but they have no evidence to support that. Because the evidence supports that it's a human being from the moment of fertilization when the sperm fertilizes the egg. Because that's the only time life can begin. So that it makes sense. Science and basic human biology. You don't have to be a scientist to know that.
It's true.
And I mean, we have.
I'm saying, yeah, it is life. You know.
We have ultrasound technology where a mother and a father can go do an ultrasound of their child in utero, and we didn't have this technology 100 years ago, but we have it now, and we still deny it's a human being because we love our sin, and we want to when it's convenient and easy for us to murder the baby, even though we know it's a human being. We know it, but we love our rebellion against God.
I feel differently than you.
Okay.
We should have to get going. I don't know. Good talk.